Meet the man who's transforming the landscape of composites in India, making the world safer, lighter, and stronger for you. Meet Shekhar, also known as Mr. Composites. Recently, his company created 4 critical components for the Chandrayaan mission. He created India's first Sonar Dome for the naval industry. He's also created India's first carbon fiber reinforced lightweight portable composite for military bridges.
Entrepreneurship was, for me, not an accident. Entrepreneurship was my dream from a very early childhood day. Success is never final and failure is never fatal. For me, that failure was only a milestone towards my journey. Extraordinary success never comes with ordinary effort. Making money for me is a byproduct of my ambition. It is not the sole purpose of what I am here for. If we need to be powerful, we need to be Atmanirbhar. We need to make things in India. Many a times people ask me, what was your plan B?
I, Floyd Tavares, want to extend a warm invitation to our community. It is a perfect place to discover insightful strategies by successful SME business owners of the country on how to build, grow, and scale your business to a brand. So don't forget to hit subscribe and join me on my mission in helping SMEs crush their goals. Your support means the world to us.
Welcome to the Hey Entrepreneur How to podcast with multi-awards winning brand strategist Floyd Tavares. Unlock proven strategies, hear powerful stories, and learn how to build a brand that dominates. Get ready to grow, thrive, and lead your entrepreneurial journey.
Mr. Shekhar, welcome to our podcast, Hey Entrepreneur How To. You're an inspiration for everyone in the engineering field. So today I want you to tell us how to build a strong B2B business and how to keep going. You've been in the industry since 1995 and have achieved numerous milestones in the fields of composites, being a supplier choice for ISRO and major global players in the defense, railway, and the poultry industry. So tell us today your story and welcome to our podcast, Hey Entrepreneur How To.
Thank you, Floyd. Thank you for having me here. I would first talk about entrepreneurship because I'm first an entrepreneur and I would say I'm just learning to be a businessman. Entrepreneurship was, for me, not an accident. Entrepreneurship was my dream from a very early childhood days. My father was into business, but unfortunately he passed away when I was just 13. And I always thought I have to carry forward his unfinished entrepreneurship work. He was into construction business, but somehow, as time passed by, I realized that I need to do something different and something from my very own state of Goa, which is more known to be a Sussegat state, and something that is global, something that is outstanding, and something that produces extraordinary results. So with this dream, I came across composites as the material of construction, which was in a very nascent stage in our country at that point in time. Most of the application of composite was in the industrial space, in the chemical industry, so that is what we started with. I quickly realized that I'm just into Me Too business, and within about 3 to 4 years, while the business did very well, we made a good amount of money. We realized that we're going to plateau very soon because we are just Me Too. And that's the time I started learning more about composites and the world of composites as to what the rest of the world is doing. What are the new advancements? What are the new technologies? What is going to be the future of this material? And then I started strategizing my entry into various segments. For me, entrepreneurship drive comes from a dream to accomplish something. In my opinion, and this is something that many of the newer generations may not agree, but making money for me is a byproduct of my ambition. It is not the sole purpose of what I'm here for. For aspiring entrepreneurs of today, I always say that, entrepreneurship is a very long journey. And there is no success or failure. Today, you're having me for this interview today because you feel I'm successful. I have done a contribution to Chandrayaan mission. I've had so many firsts, and you recognize me as a successful person. God forbid, but businesses are always uncertain. And for some reason, things don't go the way we predict today, the same world which has given me accolades, we're going to say I'm a reckless optimist. So this switch between success and failure is a part of entrepreneurial journey. And a successful entrepreneur is the one who gets rid of this noise around you and focuses on his ambition to create something, to accomplish something. Success is never final and failure is never fatal. These are the two words that I have learned over a period of time. And that keeps me going. I put success behind, move ahead with my mission. I put a failure behind equally well and move ahead with what needs to be done. So entrepreneurship is a very long journey. There are only milestones to achieve. Some milestones are achieved in time, some are not achieved, others take longer than what you have predicted. But as far as you have the perseverance, as far as your conviction towards your mission is strong, you will get there.
Wow, that's an amazing definition of success. How do you define success, right? How do you persist and how do you reach out for the stars and how do you do out of this world? Tell us a little bit about Kineco. Your company is literally making out of this world products, right? Creating products literally that is driving our space mission, driving the success, critical components of underwater submarines. You are one of India's largest supplier of train interiors. You have also creating critical components for the defense industry, right? So success right now for you you have been consistently successful. However, there have been times when you've embraced failure. You've embraced you've embraced speed bumps like the Skybus project that got you to be known for your design and build capabilities back in 2000s. So how do you embrace? You took that as a springboard for your success. And so tell us. You spoke about every entrepreneur could face a speed bump, but you've embraced the speed bumps and moved on even faster. Right. So tell us what's your formula for embracing failure and how do you use failure to pivot?
I think, as I said before, when you define failure, it's a failure to make money, right? For me, that failure was only a milestone towards my journey. So it really didn't affect me so much. And, many a times people ask me, what was your plan B? And I tell them, I said, a plan B is something that I've recently started hearing from many people. Unfortunately, I did not have the privilege of going to a management school. So I was never taught, that in starting a business or starting an enterprise, one has to have a plan B. So for me, there was never a plan B. As a result of which, whatever I was trying to accomplish, I had to make it work because there was no backup. And perhaps that's a very strong management philosophy I would like to teach the entrepreneurship, that when you have a great idea and you believe in it, you have the conviction on it, do not have plan B on that idea. Because the moment you have a plan B, your immediate commercial failure will lead you to take up the plan B. And you might be very, very close to a very big success in the mission that you started as a plan A. So please, until you have the conviction towards your mission, please stay on course of that mission. It'll take longer than you have envisioned, but then successes sometimes take much longer. But at the same time, there are turning points in that journey which catapult you pretty quickly, and law of averages will apply over a period of time, and you will get there sooner than you ever imagined, and you will become bigger than you ever imagined.
Wow, that's some very amazing insights. If you like what you're listening to, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. You spoke about turning points. Tell us a little about your turning points in your, from 1995 to today. What were your major turning points, good and bad?
So, there were several turning points. I can't really starkly say that there was one or two or three turning points. Several turning points all along my journey, right from the first investor that we had in our business, which made us start the business. So idea was born out of our brains, but it became a reality out of investor's pocket. So that was the first turning point, that my entrepreneurship idea was turned into an enterprise. The second turning point, of course, was the awakening in 3 or 4 years of time that I'm into Me Too business. And that awakening is very important, but because if I had stayed in that groove, I would have matured in that groove. I would have been the leader in that space, obviously because of our perseverance. But I would not been able to achieve what I have achieved across several segments and in the very advanced space of composite industry. Standing shoulder to shoulder with global companies. That success has come to me because I decided at that turning point that we need to do something different. We need to stand out in the crowd, and we need to be innovative. We need to spend a lot of time, energy, money, and passion behind R&D, and come out with new products which make a difference for the customer. So customer was always a focal point. What can composites do to bring in a differentiator for the customer? And that is where we positioned ourselves as a company with passion for composites, as a company with innovation as its focus, world-class products as its commitment, and technology as its objective. So in a nutshell, if you ask me turning points, several turning points, but the first investor, the second turning point was awakening. And then, of course, a breakthrough in various segments. May you call it rail industry, where we got our first order, or the advanced composite, which eventually became aerospace business, where we made some critical, risky decisions to invest in certain technologies, which was not based on a very sound, kind of a business plan, but it was more a passionate desire to be in aerospace. And we realized unless we have certain technologies in the ground in terms of manufacturing equipment and process ability, we will not be able to get there. But it took me from the time I invested in technology in 2005, it was 2013 that we got our first break into composites. So it's in aerospace composites. So it was a pretty long journey, but eventually it did happen. And when it happened, we were the only guys
in the space.
And yet over the years from 2013 to now, we are one among the two leading companies in India. So the turning points come in everybody's life. It's for you important to recognize that how you leverage those turning points, how you pivot them into making sure that your strategy, your ambitions get a springboard, or the turning point becomes a springboard, and gives you the speed that you desire, the jump that you desire to move forward with your mission.
So I think one of your recent newsworthy products that you created was for the Chandrayaan mission. That set India on a new wave of creating low-cost components, world-class products at an affordable rate. And you were at the helm of this whole wave, right? So what, according to you, did the Chandrayaan mission do to the whole industry per se and to the new India, which geopolitically, economically is doing really well compared to other economies of the world? India is on par to being a developed country. So how do you are building a business for the new India, the future India. What is your advice for entrepreneurs on how to build for the new India?
So I'll come to the first part of your question around Chandrayaan. I think our ambition to be a part of space and aerospace programs was born in somewhere in 2002, 2003, when we invested in advanced composite facility. And at that point of time, our space missions were not as big as today, but composites was a material that was predominantly used in all space launch vehicles. And ISRO at that point of time first started on looking at private sector to make components and parts, and they invited a lot of suppliers, and I was fortunate that I was also invited to be a part of this supplier interaction program. And I was sitting along the likes of Larsen and Toubro, Tata's, and many other large companies. And I just thought, well, I'm too small to be a part of ISRO's mission. And rather than getting disappointed that, because I found in the entire interaction, like I was left out, everybody was talking to the big guys, and I was like trying to find some audience with some of the customer representatives, but most of the focus was around the big guys. So I didn't come back disappointed. In fact, I came back being a lot more determined to do what we needed to do. And over the next many years, almost a decade, we spent a lot of time, energy building capability, because aerospace is like a club, and you can't be a salesman knocking on the doors of that club. You need a very strong track record to be recognized over several years before somebody says, yes, I will try you. And that's what we did over the next 10 years. We built capabilities, we built competence, we built processes, we took aerospace certifications, and that is where then finally the one door opened. And after that one door opened, there was no looking back. So if I look back at 2023 Chandrayaan mission and go back to 2003, it is a decade-long journey. And that decade-long journey with conviction made it possible that on the Chandrayaan mission, we were one of the larger contributors to the critical parts of the launch vehicle of the mission program. So, but it didn't come, it didn't fall from top. It had, we won it after a lot of efforts, a lot of track record, building a lot of smaller components earlier from 2010 onwards, and then eventually the big day happened. So,
congrats on that.
And of course, coming to the second part of the your question about building for New India, I think philosophically speaking, any country today, the strength of that country or the geopolitical dominance of any country is today decided by the strength of their technologies and the self-reliant supply chains they bring to the table. Right? These are the two most important things. No country can be powerful if they didn't have technology with them, and if they didn't have the reliant supply chains with them, self-reliant. And this is something that India is recognizing today, that if we need to be powerful, we need to be Atmanirbhar. We need to make things in India. We need to have a self-reliant supply chain, and we need to have technologies which compete with the best in the world. And this is the mission behind the Atmanirbhar. It's not just about a pride to make something in India, but it is also about making this country, making India geopolitically strong. Now, this is philosophical, but when it comes to actual action on the ground, or for entrepreneurs like us to make it successful, we need to realize that where do you become a compelling story? Today, despite the fact that China is relatively geopolitically isolated from the world, it is a compelling proposition for most of the world. You may talk anything, all countries in the world from US, Europe, or for that matter to a large extent India, may have a geopolitical tension with that country, but they cannot not in a short period of time diversify their supply chains from the country, because China itself has positioned themselves strongly as a compelling supply chain partner to the world. That scale is unmatched today. So if we want to go on that path, of course, we are a democracy. We cannot do in the time frame what China did in a manner they did it. But yes, today the tailwinds are behind us. The China 1+1 factor, our geopolitical positioning in the world, our good relations with most of the powerful countries, our non-aligned political position gives us a very sweet spot. The canvas is the globe. And I think what our entrepreneurs need to realize is that to beat the world with technologies, you need to invest heavily in building capability which deliver world-class products to a global scale. Okay? If we do not create our industry to match global scale and operational excellence and efficiencies which deliver quality and on-time delivery of products to the world, you will never get there. And we as a country, when we say make in India, we have to make sure that we make in India world-class products for the world.
Tell us a little about your business. What are the industries you're impacting? What is the impact of composites, and how is composites the future of materials?
So composites is a light, strong, durable, non-corrosive material which can be manufactured using various processes. And that is why it is a material of choice wherever you need anything that is light, strong, and durable. Okay. So when we started our business, we were manufacturing chemical processing, and most of that business was centered around, corrosive environment, equipment for corrosive environment, and that is where composites in glass fiber, what was popularly at that point in time known as FRP or fiberglass tanks. This fiberglass pipe. This was our product range. So we used to typically cater to chemical plants. When we diversified, our first diversification was rail interiors, and we had seen that the world is moving from conventional interiors in metallics and traditional materials to a more aerodynamic, more aesthetically pleasing, more durable, more insulating, and more corrosion resistant materials like composites. And that's where we first started designing parts for interiors and front ends of trains. And over the years, this was right from 2002 to 2003 that we made our first part for railways. It took us a long time to convince railways to adopt composites, but one by one, as they realized the benefits, they adopted. And today we have turned that business into the largest business for Kineco, and we are one of the only companies which can deliver world-class interiors, and you will see some terrific innovations and something very, very luxurious in India pretty soon. So, and which will be designed and manufactured by Kineco, and we will continue to be at the forefront of developing train interiors and related products which are lighter, stronger, innovative, and allows faster mobility. So that's one part of our business. The second part of the business, and a very important part of our business, is aerospace and defense. So the aerospace part of the business is centered around manufacturing of parts for space launch vehicles, including what we did recently for Chandrayaan, and we are doing currently for Gaganyaan, and also parts for defense aircraft as well as civil aircrafts. We manufacture several parts and sub-assemblies which go on platforms of defense aircrafts and civil aircrafts, like the aircraft from Boeing and Airbus. The third part of our business is, which is the second part of aerospace and defense, which is the defense business, which is centered around multiple verticals. We work on aerostructures of missiles to sonar domes for naval warships, to specialized igniters and rocket motor cases, and military bridges, etc., etc. So it is more of land-based defense equipment business. And the last part of our business is industrial, within which we have the business which does industrial pressure vessels for desalination plants, which are exported all over the world. Very, very critical pressure vessels for desalination of saline water or seawater. And then we have a pultrusion business, which is focused around wind energy and telecom. We are setting up a large capacity and one of India's first large-scale capacity for producing wind blade spar caps made out of carbon fiber for or windmill manufacturers. So it's going to be a mass-scale production facility which will be commissioned very soon. So 4 verticals right now, and many more in the pipeline as we go along. But strategically, currently we are focused around composites as the key material of construction, Of course, we try and find adjacencies to make sure that we capture more elements of the value chain and scale up our business. So
Horizontally and vertically.
yeah, but composites remains the nucleus of all our business.
So you all have scaled so much that your tagline, land space to aerospace, now you've added outer space, you've added underwater submarines, right? So
But I can tell you that we have only scratched the surface. The canvas is the globe for us, and I think we've just begun. I think what the next decade we'll see is exponential as compared to what we have had in the last 3 decades. So obviously for us, this is an extremely exciting decade going forward, and you will, while we continue our entrepreneurial ambition and diversification of our composite business, you will see each of our businesses achieve significant scale, as I said, exponential scale over the next decade or so.
especially when the world is moving to a greener tomorrow, I think your
Absolutely.
products are
Absolutely.
enabling the whole shift to being green.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talking about entrepreneurship, so life of an entrepreneur is finite, an enterprise is infinite. How are you building an enterprise? You said you were an entrepreneur earlier, and now you are a businessman. You're building an enterprise. What is the shift that you're making in your business to change it from an entrepreneurial venture to an enterprise? And how do you make your business, make your enterprise infinite?
So I think you borrowed my line in terms
Yes.
of enterprise is infinite, and a life of an entrepreneur is finite. And I think sooner every entrepreneur realizes it, better it is, because as the enterprise grows, and particularly first stage enterprises, you need to make sure that before you hang your boots, whether you decide to keep the business for your next generation or whether you decide to sell it, the business was created out of your dream, and you always want to see it do well, whether you are the continuing owner of that or someone else owns it. But your legacy, your enterprise is your legacy, and you want to leave a good legacy behind. So obviously, to make the life of an enterprise infinite, you need to make sure that the enterprise is institutionalized in terms of its processes, its governance, its organizational structure, the way it is managed. And that institutionalization takes time, because in any business which is driven by an entrepreneurship ambition, the entrepreneur is a focal point. He decides the strategy, he decides the action items, he decides the agenda, and over a period of time you get into a mold where everything centers around that entrepreneur. And I think it's important for every entrepreneur to realize that he needs to make sure that as time passes, you need to learn to create processes, you need to create people around you, you need to create leaders around you which replicate an entrepreneur, and you are able to scale up your business. So there should be many entrepreneurs in the business which drive a common vision. So this process has already started for Kineco a few years back, and we are now accelerating it to make sure that the before the life of an active entrepreneur goes into the sunset, there would be many entrepreneurs who should be in a position to drive multiple businesses. Many leaders which we are creating as a next generation succession planning, and obviously we have to create a very sound organizational platform, a governance platform. Today, the business requires lots of compliances, particularly for aspiring companies who want to go public like us. We would definitely want to make sure that we are very strong on our compliance agenda. Sustainability, for that matter, is a big agenda for us going forward, and agenda for the world. So obviously, initiatives around sustainability, ESG initiatives, your HR framework and how you uh, imbibe those values in your organization which attract talent. How do you retain talent? All those cultural things, all those process things, all those things that make your entrepreneurship institutional, which will live longer than the life of an entrepreneur. And I think we are well in that. On that journey, and it's a continuous journey. As you scale up, at every stage you need to make sure that your organization is calibrated to reflect that scale.
Very interesting insights for everyone looking to transform your business into an enterprise. You spoke about initially being a Me Too, right? And then transforming to Kineco, which is a brand, right? From a Me Too to a brand is something that we all know is a promise, it's a distinction, it's a USP, it's a positioning that you have in the world of composites. Composites matlab Kineco, right? You have a very interesting naming philosophy as well, right? So that brought the uniqueness of your product as well, right? So Kineco stands for kinematics and composites. So Kineco that's how the brand name was created. So what are the steps that you did continuously, consistently to ensure that the word Kineco is synonymous with the word composites?
So right from the beginning, when we started on this journey, as I said, when there was an awakening that we have to get out of this Me Too mold, we decided to really brainstorm and come out with what are our core values, and how do we make sure that these core values are written down in words so that they remain in our minds all through of every team member. And after a lot of brainstorming, we came with these 4 taglines, in which are our core values even today. So I said, where do we want to be? Composites is a space. So we said composites has to be our passion, is our passion, has to continue to be our passion. And that is what consistency is all about. You keep your journey on the track you started. Of course, as businesses build, you achieve saturation in those businesses, you may well want to diversify it into another one. But until you want to become a leader, your passion for that business has to stay intact. So composites as our passion was our first tagline. Innovation as our mission, because when we said we don't want to be Me Too, to be differentiate, to create a differentiator, we needed to be innovative. So we continually innovated with new products, new application, new differentiated benefits for the customer. And that's how we kept pace, and the brand became synonymous with innovation. Okay. Then we said, how are we going to innovate? How are we going to make sure that we deliver the world-class products to our customers? And the technology is a tool that we said is going to be our focus. So technology was our focus. So composites was our passion, innovation was our mission, technology became our focus. This is the third tagline. And I said, we would be known for world-class products. So let's make world-class products our commitment. So these 4 taglines really are, even though we have grown multifold over a period of time, we have transformed ourselves from a small organization to a mid-sized organization. A lot of things have changed around us. People have changed. The dynamics of doing business have changed. But these fundamentals of our core values continue to drive us, and they are even relevant today.
Hey, entrepreneurs, a golden framework for building a brand. Find your purpose. Write down your mission. Live your mission. Commit to what you're doing. Commit to building a world-class business, world-class products, and do that consistently. That's your formula for building.
Yes, and how do we keep every
innovating
of these core values? How do we make sure that these core values deliver a company that you desire? And then we created another 4 taglines. We said rather 3. We said 3 I's, and we call it the 3 I principle. We said. The first I is our intent. Like we say, state your purpose, state your intent to all your stakeholders. So in your organization, there's complete transparency around what you are as an organization set out to achieve. That means everybody knows what they are supposed to do to contribute to that mission. That is our first I. State your intent. I, intent. The second I was, once you've decided your intent, give it your highest intensity. You have to put intensity behind, because extraordinary success never comes with ordinary effort. Yeah, it requires an extraordinary effort. So an extraordinary effort only comes with this second I, the intensity you give your intent. And the third I, which is a very, very important I, is while doing that, make sure your integrity is never compromised. Because the moment you start compromising your integrity, and it's not just integrity about, financial matters, even integrity about your own mission. If you have integrity towards your mission, you will stay on course with the purpose. You will not be deterred by the failures that happen. You will not get distracted or about the success of your peers, because you've set out with a good intent. You have given it the highest intensity, and you're going to stay on course with integrity. So these three I's really drive us to make sure that we build a world-class business, which will be a sustainable business, which will live beyond the life of an entrepreneur, and which will achieve laurels for our state and for our country.
Wow. So how to build a global business that's sustainable? Here's the formula, right? So here's some introspection for you entrepreneurs. Go back, right? Write down your passion, right? List down how you can innovate, use technology in your business today. And what is it that you commit to do consistently for the next few coming years? Write down your three I's, right? And let us know in the chats below once, how Shekhar has inspired you to go back to the drawing board, find your values, and commit to doing good work, commit to building a world-class global company and a global enterprise. Thank you, Shekhar, for being on our podcast. Your insight for business has been next to none. And I'm very sure that everyone watching out there is taking a step back, introspecting on what they should do for New India, what they should do for their business, and what they should do to transform themselves, and how they should stay persistent, and how they should keep the intensity and get rolling on their success. My name is Floyd Tavares, the co-founder of Branding Consulting. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to Mr. Composites of India, Shekhar Sardessai of Kineco. And in our podcast today, he's spoken a lot about how to build a global business, how to build a team, how to build for New India, how to build a brand. And thank you once again for being on our podcast.
Thank you, Floyd. Thank you for having me here.
Please do not forget to follow, subscribe.